Okay. Hi, everyone, and a pleasant good afternoon to you wherever you may be. I am Tony Abady, and we are here in Frontenac, Kansas this afternoon as the Fort Scott Tiger and Lady Tiger basketball teams get ready to start the 2024 Frontenac Four-State Classic here today. There'll be games today, tomorrow, and on Saturday for all three teams. Looking forward to this tournament as we do each year. We're going to see some teams in this bracket that you don't see very often, as you see there on your screen here on Duckbait TV. Again, thanks for joining us here on Duckbait TV. But as you see on your screen, it's the Seneca Indians from Seneca, Missouri that is going to face Fort Scott here this afternoon. It'll be boys first here coming up at about 4 o'clock. And then the girls will play the last game of the day down at 8:30 this evening. Scheduled tip at 8:30. We'll see if that actually starts on time or not, as there'll be 4 games in this old gym today and 4 games in the new gym as well. So lots of fun stuff coming up for you here this week as the Tigers, again, will face Seneca here this afternoon, and got a little bit of a bonus as Seneca played Nevada on Tuesday night, so I was able to watch that game and do a little bit of research, not nearly as much as the team has done, I'm sure, on the Seneca Indians. But Seneca on Tuesday night beat Nevada. It was a pretty close game for quite a while. They were able to use some pressure defense late in that game and pushed out the lead there late. But Nevada was able to hold with them. They've got a little bit of size. Gabe Sykes is a 6'7" senior, but in that Nevada game, and it may just have been matchups in that game, not really sure. But in that game against Nevada, he did not play much at all. The guy that you're going to have to watch out for, though, is Morgan Vaughn. I believe he's the one that had so many points the other night. Actually, I believe it was Blake Hearn, now that I'm looking at the roster. But he had over 20 points in that game against Nevada the other night. So definitely somebody the Tigers are going to have to look out for here this afternoon. And looking forward to it. This is a great opportunity for Fort Scott to kind of see what their teams are like outside the SCK. That's the great thing about tournament play, is that you get a chance to come and see some teams you don't see during the regular season very often, if at all. And of course, in this tournament, not going to see probably anybody that you're familiar with, at least from this season anyway. Looks like we're about to get the national anthem, so we'll turn the mic up. Hopefully we can hear that. You can hear that back on your screens there as we get that national anthem in just a moment here.
At this time, we'd like you to please stand as we honor our country and men and women that have defended and are currently defending her, thus
And with that, we are just about ready to get things going here this afternoon. Thanks again for joining us on Duckbait TV, as we've got some fun action scheduled for you over the next 3 days here in Frontenac. All right, so it looks like we are ready for the starting lineup, so let's go ahead and give you those as the Tigers are going to start with their typical starting lineup here. 5'11 sophomore Dirks Kegler, 5'7 senior Cal Cousins, 5'10 senior Spencer Goldston, 6'6 senior Rocco Lafredo, and 5'11 junior Dub Chipman. For Seneca, it looks like they're going to go with 5'10 junior Zane Grochon, 6'1 senior Gavin Hoover, 6 foot senior Ethan Altick, 6'1 senior Morgan Vaughn. He is the one that had 24, 26 points the other night for Seneca in that win over Nevada. And then Blake Kern, who's a 6'3 senior. Those will be the starting 5 for Seneca. So they're still doing the starting lineups for the Tigers here. So again, the Tigers here this evening trying to get things or keep things going here. Their only loss a couple of weeks ago or a couple of games ago to Pittsburgh here in Crawford County. That was just last Tuesday. And then they got back on the winning track with a big win over Coffeyville on Friday night. That's the last game for the Tiger boys so far coming into this one. So Missouri's a little bit more liberal with their scheduling, and so they are able to play games in addition to their tournament games the week of the tournament. So that's why Seneca played Nevada. It was not a makeup game. It was originally scheduled that way, from everything I understand, for the Nevada or for the Seneca boys and the Nevada boys on Tuesday night. So it looks like Morgan Vaughn will jump tip for Seneca against Rocco Lafredo of the Tigers. Our first quarter tonight brought to you, as always, by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jamie Armstrong. Huge thanks to Jamie for making that possible. And we're underway, and the Tigers get the opening tip as the ball comes to Fort Scott. They'll get it across the timeline. Now they try to get it down low, and the ball knocked away by Seneca. It goes out of bounds, so it'll stay with the Tigers. Just underway, just 5 seconds into this one. Thanks again for joining us here on Duckbait TV. Dirks has the ball out front for the Tigers. Now back over to Goldston. Everything's situated here. Each new place gives us some new challenges, and there's a nice bucket by the Tigers as Dirks Kegler got all the way to the hoop. That'll make it 2-0 Fort Scott here early in this one. Now Seneca gets it across the timeline. They'll have their first possession of the game. Pass comes to the top to Hearn. Hearn being guarded there by Rocco. Hearn drives in, now kicks it into the corner, back around to the top. Here's a three-pointer from Grote John. That one is no good. Rebound batted towards the sideline, goes out of bounds. They'll say it stays with Seneca. 7 minutes even to go here in the first quarter. Again, thanks for joining us on Duckbait TV as the Tigers and Lady Tigers start for the Frontenac Four-State Classic. Now we've got a discussion as one of the officials believe that went off of Fort Scott, so they're going to give the ball back to the Tigers here. And they'll get it quickly into the front court against this zone defense. Here's a three-pointer from Cal. That one's in and out, no good. These rims in this old gym, if I remember from previous years, much harder than the new gym. So, well, look at that. A little bit like, expect it to be a little bit like Labette County a few nights ago. Shot there missed by the Indians, and now they'll kick it back there. Fort Scott gets it, kicks it back down the floor. 2-3 zone to start things out. They played a lot of man in that game against Nevada on Tuesday night, but did play some zone early. So we'll see if Fort Scott can break this zone. Nevada didn't seem to have a whole lot of issues with it, and so they switched to a man. Pass goes inside, and now it's knocked out of the hands of Rocco Lafredo and out of bounds, so it'll stay with Fort Scott. Fort Scott in the home white uniforms today, with the red letters, red numbers, red and black trim. Seneca in their road red uniforms with the blue letters, and then white numbers and white trim on those red uniforms for Seneca. They are red and blue, a lot like KU. Use red a little bit more than they do blue, it appears. Fort Scott just basically red and white for most everything. Now pass to the top of the key. They'll get it out here to Spencer into the corner. Nice drive there by the Tigers. Now they'll kick it back around to Cal. Drives to the top of the key. 15-footer is good. So Cal Cousins makes it 4-0 here in the early going for the Fort Scott Tigers. Pass over to Morgan Vaughn. He'll drive in. Shot there is good. And again, he was the one with 20, I believe 24 against Nevada the other night. So watch out for him. Fort Scott quickly into the front court, and it's knocked away and stolen. And now we got a whistle at the other end. Looks like a foul going to be called on the Tigers here with 5:06 to play. Fouls on Dub Chipman, his first. First free throw here is no good by Seneca. Gavin Hoover missed them both, and Fort Scott comes away with the rebound. Fort Scott trying to work against this press. They got to get it across the timeline. And they're going to get nope, they are going to get a 10-second call. They forced Nevada into a couple of those the other night as well, so that's going to be something Fort Scott's going to have to make sure they get the ball across the timeline. Four to 2, Fort Scott with the lead over Seneca here in the early going. Thanks again for joining us on Duckbait TV. Pass goes inside to Vaughn, trying to back down a defender. Fort Scott trying to get a charge there, didn't work, and now Morgan Vaughn has tied this one up at 4 apiece. Again, Fort Scott trying to break this press here. He'll get it across the timeline and then dribbled it out of bounds. So another turnover for the Tigers, and they're going to call a timeout and discuss things here. 4:23 to play in the first quarter. The Tigers taking their first timeout of the contest. Your first quarter tonight brought to you by Edward Jones financial advisor Jamie Armstrong. Edward Jones has been advising customers in the world of finance for over 100 years. Financial advisor Jamie Armstrong continues that tradition in Fort Scott. Contact Jamie by phone at 620-223-1866 or email Jamie at jamie.armstrong@edwardjones.com. Seneca has the ball back in play. Get it to Hearn at the top of the key. Now they pass it off to Hoover. Hoover back around. They get it to Grotejohn in the corner for three. He can make them from out there, and it rolled around and finally fell through. So Seneca does take their first lead of the ball game. After a 4-0 start for the Tigers, Seneca has scored 7 straight and leads it by 3 here towards the midway point of the first quarter. It's under the midway point of the first quarter. Fort Scott breaks the press this time. They get it out, and out of the elbow. Pass there is stolen away. Rocco a little unsure of what he wanted to do there with it looked like. And Grotejohn comes away with the steal. Head back the other direction. Drive in. We got a whistle and a travel going to be called on Gavin Hoover. 3:33 to go here in the first quarter. Again, Fort Scott trailing now 7-4 after starting with a 4-0 lead. Seneca's put this 1-2-2 zone press on it. It has caused the Tigers some issues getting the ball across the timeline. Now they do get it across. Into the corner it goes. Cal, and he's going to get fouled there as Cal went to pump fake, and Grotejohn took the fake. And they fell over each other. It looks like Grotejohn got the worst of the deal. Hopefully he's okay. It's like a quick sub for both teams here. As Grotejohn will come out in favor of Jace Schulte. Also into the game for the Tigers, Keenan Brown, a 6'3 sophomore. Schulte for the Indians is a 5'11 junior. Fort Scott with the inbound play here. Shot there is no good. Putback opportunity is also no good, and now Seneca gets a rebound. Shot inside, doesn't go, and now here comes the Tigers. And it'll get knocked out of bounds by Seneca. Now Fort Scott has the ball back. They'll kick it to Goldston. Now back to the top it comes. Around to the left side, it goes to Dirks. Dirks has the ball. Double team there. Now finds they get it inside. Nice job. That back door is going to be open. Noticed that in the Nevada game the other night. There's a shot there that's good by Goldston. They really pressure on the defense. They come out there, and I noticed it a few times in the Nevada game back on Tuesday. They pressured out front so much that the back door was open. Fort Scott may have to utilize that more often here this evening. Worked well that time for the Tigers. Hoover's got it now for Seneca out front, being guarded man-to-man there by Goldston. Coming up on 2 minutes to play in the first quarter. We got a whistle and a charge is going to be called on Gavin Hoover. So that'll be a turnover. Back over to the Tigers. Now Fort Scott again. They'll have to work against this press. Cal gets it across to Dirks. Dirks drives in, now kicks it back out. Cal into the corner. Cannon drives the baseline. Kicks it back around. Three-pointer on the way is no good. Rebound deflected out of bounds. And Fort Scott's going to keep the ball here with 1:50 to go in the quarter. Now Dub Chipman will check back in as Cal will come out. Inbounds play comes deep to Dub. He'll make a move, go right into the basket. Now has a pass, and wide open underneath was Rocco Lafredo for two. Now we got a whistle at the other end here. That'll give the Tigers the lead back at 8-7. And I believe they called a foul on Dirks Kegler. it's going to be on Rocco, his first. First free throw here for Ethan Altick is good. And now, Cade Johnson will check in for Seneca. Second free throw is also good, so the lead goes back out to 9-8 in favor of Seneca. Ball knocked out of bounds. Gets the ball back and goes to the basket. Spencer Goldston with the points. I'll put the Tigers back on top. 10-8. Now we got a whistle, and then they're going to call another travel on Seneca. This time it looks like it's going to be on Ethan Altick. Fort Scott will have to take advantage of this here. Fort Scott trying to break the press again. Again, it's a 1-2-2 zone press. It really gave Nevada some problems with that on Tuesday. Fort Scott has figured out, at least at the moment, how to handle that a little bit better here in this one. Pass around. Spencer for three. He's got the hot hand. Missed it a little bit strong that time, though, this time. And the rebound goes over to Seneca. Shot there blocked by Cannon Brown. Drive in again. This time it's good by Schulte. He missed the initial shot. Cannon Brown with a block there. But couldn't grab a hold of the basketball. Now we got 30 seconds left in the quarter. Pass deflected, loose, picked up by Cannon. 20 seconds.